the weight of what's not yours. How much of your suffering comes from fighting battles that were never yours? The weather changes. Markets fall. People leave. Accidents strike. And still, we try to command them, as if the universe waits for our orders. The Stoics called this the greatest mistake, wasting life on what lies outside your control. Welcome back to Stoic Wellspring. Today, we return to the foundation of Stoic wisdom, the discipline of control, learning to focus only on what is truly ours, the foundation of freedom. At the heart of Stoicism lies a simple but radical idea. Some things are up to us, and some are not. This is the dichotomy of control. It sounds obvious, yet most of our anxiety, frustration, and wasted energy comes from forgetting this truth. We spend years trying to bend the world to our will, only to discover how little we command. The Stoics taught that freedom is not found in controlling everything, but in focusing our discipline on what is truly ours. Our choices, our judgments, our actions. In this video, we will explore 8 lessons in the discipline of control, each one showing us how to release the impossible and master the possible. Part 1. Knowing what is truly yours. The first discipline is clarity. To distinguish between what depends on you and what does not. The discipline of control begins with a question. What in this vast world truly belongs to me? The Stoics answered with precision. Your thoughts, your choices, your actions. Everything else, your body, your possessions, your reputation, the behavior of others, even the course of fate, lies beyond your command. To confuse these two realms is to live in constant disappointment. Epictetus once taught in his discourses, happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not. His warning was not abstract, but urgent. Without this clarity, we will chase the wind, mistaking shadows for substance. History makes this lesson sharp. Consider the fall of Marcus Crassus, the richest man in Rome. Despite his fortune, he marched east seeking glory in war. But the battlefield cared nothing for his wealth. His army was crushed, and his end was humiliating. He had mistaken what was not his, the outcome of war, for something he could bend. In our modern lives, the same mistake repeats. We think promotions depend on us, when in truth they depend on shifting politics at work. We think love will remain if we try hard enough, forgetting that hearts change. We even think health is ours to command, until an accident or illness arrives uninvited. The Stoic path begins by drawing the line clearly. This is mine. That is not. This simple act of division between what belongs to you and what never did is the first step out of slavery to illusion and the first step toward freedom. Part 2. Stop wasting energy on the uncontrollable. The second discipline is restraint. Do not fight what lies outside your command. Once you know the line between what is yours and what is not, the next discipline is to stop pouring your strength into the wrong side. Human beings exhaust themselves waging wars against reality, shouting at the weather, raging at traffic, demanding fairness from fortune, begging others to be different than they are. Every drop of energy wasted on the uncontrollable is stolen from the things you could actually shape. Epictetus once said in his Enchiridion, "Do not seek for events to happen as you wish, but wish for events to happen as they do, and your life will flow smoothly." His wisdom is not passive surrender, but practical redirection. Why waste years shouting at the sea when you could learn to sail? History gives us striking examples. The Athenians, during the Peloponnesian War, obsessed over controlling outcomes far beyond their power. Their Sicilian expedition was a desperate attempt to bend fortune to their will. The result was catastrophe. Thousands dead, their empire weakened, their glory dimmed. They poured energy into what they could not command and lost what they could. In our modern age, think of the employee who spends endless nights cursing a toxic boss. Instead of sharpening skills or seeking new opportunities, or the parent who wastes years trying to force their child into a path that does not fit. Instead of guiding with wisdom and love, the outcome is always the same: frustration, bitterness, and the slow erosion of spirit. The discipline of control reminds us, your energy is precious. Every ounce spent fighting the uncontrollable is an ounce stolen from your growth. To stop wasting energy is not to give up on life, but to finally live it where it matters. Part 3. Mastering your inner domain. The third discipline is mastery. Direct effort inward, where control is absolute. If the outer world is beyond our grasp, then where do we find strength? The Stoics answered, in the inner domain, the realm of thought, judgment, and choice. Here and here alone, your sovereignty is absolute. No tyrant, no storm, no accident can seize your reason unless you surrender it. Epictetus once told his students in the Discourses, "You may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus himself can conquer my will." This is the essence of Stoic power. The recognition that true mastery lies not in ruling nations, but in ruling oneself. History illustrates this vividly. Think of Socrates, standing trial, offered escape if he would abandon philosophy. He chose death over betrayal of principle. His body was condemned, but his mind remained free. Or think of Admiral James Stockdale, a modern Stoic who endured years as a prisoner of war in Vietnam. Tortured and confined, he clung to Epictetus's teachings, reminding himself daily, "They can destroy my body, but they cannot touch my will." In our daily lives, we may not face courts or prison camps, but the principle is the same. A rude colleague, a market crash, a harsh criticism, none of these can touch your inner domain unless you open the gates. You are not free when you control the world. You are free when you control yourself. The discipline of control begins to bloom here. Stop scattering your effort outward and build your fortress within. For in mastering your thoughts and choices, you discover the one kingdom no one can ever take from you. Part 4. The burden of expectations. The fourth discipline is freedom from expectation. Let go of how the world should be. Most of our frustration comes not from events themselves, but from the stories we attach to them. We expect life to unfold smoothly, people to behave fairly, fortune to reward our efforts. And when reality refuses, we feel betrayed. Yet the betrayal is not from life. It is from our expectations. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself in his meditations, "You have power over your mind. not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He did not write this from comfort, but while carrying the weight of empire, betrayal, and endless wars. His strength came not from bending the world to his script, but from releasing the script altogether. History shows how dangerous expectation can be. The French Revolution began with the expectation of liberty and equality. But when reality fell short, rage consumed the nation, leading to the reign of terror. Dreams turned to blood because people clung to what should have been instead of facing what was. On a personal level, think of someone entering marriage with the expectation that their partner will never change, or an employee who expects perfect fairness from a company built on profit. The disappointment is inevitable because the premise was false. The world does not conform to our should. The discipline of control frees us here. When you release expectation, you are not left hopeless. You are left steady. You meet life as it comes, without demanding it play by your rules. And in that meeting, you discover resilience. Because nothing can truly betray you once you stop betraying yourself with false hopes. Part 5. The Strength of Response. The fifth discipline is choice. While events escape you, your response is always yours. Life will test you with events you cannot script. Insults, losses, betrayals, sudden storms. These are not yours to command. But one thing remains untouched, unbroken, unshakable: your response. Between stimulus and reaction lies a sacred space, and in that space rests the freedom to choose. Epictetus once reminded his students in the discourses, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is not a cliché of comfort, but the core of freedom. For while fate dictates the blow, you dictate whether it breaks you or makes you stronger. History is rich with this principle. Nelson Mandela endured 27 years of imprisonment. He could have emerged bitter, consumed by rage. Instead, he chose reconciliation, shaping not only his own soul, but the destiny of a nation. His response was his revolution. In modern life, consider the driver cut off in traffic. One response breeds rage, honking, stress that poisons the rest of the day. Another response, calm acknowledgement, a breath, and moving on, preserves peace. The same event, two choices, two radically different lives. The discipline of control reminds us that events do not dictate the story. Our response does. This is why the Stoics trained daily, rehearsing insults, imagining loss, practicing endurance, so that when reality struck, they would not collapse into instinct, but rise into choice. Freedom is not the absence of hardship. Freedom is the ability to stand in hardship and still say, "This is mine to answer." Part 6. Training for the unexpected. The sixth discipline is preparation. Rehearse adversity before it arrives. The Stoics knew that life is unpredictable. To live well, they trained not for comfort, but for chaos. They called this practice premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Each morning, they would imagine insult, loss, illness, or death, not to invite despair, but to build resilience. If you rehearse the storm, its arrival will not break you. Seneca once advised in his letters to Lucilius, "He robs present ills of their power, who has already faced them in his mind." Anticipation becomes armor, forethought a shield. History offers vivid lessons. Roman generals drilled their soldiers relentlessly, not only in skill, but in discipline, so that when ambushes came, they would not scatter in panic. In modern times, astronauts train for countless simulations of disaster, engine failure, loss of oxygen, fire in the capsule, so that when danger arrives, they act with calm precision, not fear. In our lives, this discipline may seem strange, even pessimistic, but consider its power. The person who never imagines loss is shattered when it arrives. The one who has rehearsed it grieves, yet endures. The worker who never contemplates failure collapses when it comes. The one who has faced it in thought adapts and rebuilds. Preparation does not remove pain, but it removes surprise. And surprise is often the sharpest edge of suffering. The discipline of control is not blind optimism, but practiced readiness. You cannot choose whether storms come, but you can choose to meet them trained, steady, and unbroken. Part 7. growth through what you can shape. The seventh discipline is focus. Invest deeply in the areas where your choices matter. Too often, we fixate on what escapes us, while neglecting what lies fully in our hands. The Stoics urged the opposite. Devote yourself to the sphere of influence you truly command. Your habits, your learning, your virtues, your daily work. These are the fields where seeds grow, where effort bears fruit. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in his Meditations, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." The emperor knew that philosophy is not for speculation, but for practice. Greatness is not won in debate, but in disciplined living. History confirms this truth. Michelangelo did not control politics or fortune, but he mastered his craft, chiseling stone until David emerged. Beethoven could not prevent his deafness, but he focused on composition and gave the world symphonies born from silence. Their legacies prove a Stoic law. Pour your effort where it can shape reality, not where it only collides with it. In our age, the same principle holds. The student cannot control the exam questions, but can control her preparation. The athlete cannot control the referee, but can train his endurance. The entrepreneur cannot control the economy, but can refine her product, her vision, her persistence. The discipline of control is not only about what to release, but also about where to plant yourself. Growth does not come from railing against fate, but from cultivating the soil of your own choices. And in that soil, greatness takes root. Part 8. Freedom in letting go. The final discipline is release. True freedom comes not from grasping, but from letting go. The last step in the discipline of control is paradoxical. Freedom comes not in clinging tighter, but in letting go. When you accept the boundary of what is not yours, you stop fighting unwinnable wars. You discover a new kind of strength, the calm of one who carries no unnecessary weight. Epictetus once urged his students in the Enchiridion, "Do not demand that events happen as you wish, but accept them as they happen. Then you will live at peace." Peace, then, is not a prize for those who conquer the world, but a reward for those who cease demanding the impossible. History shines with this truth. Emperor Hadrian spent his life expanding Rome's empire, but eventually drew its borders back, realizing the limit of conquest. His wisdom was not weakness, but clarity, the recognition that strength also means restraint. In modern times, think of leaders like the Dalai Lama, who lost his homeland, yet found freedom in acceptance, becoming a teacher to millions without bitterness. And on the personal scale, recall the relief when you finally let go of controlling what others think of you, or the serenity when you stop trying to rewrite the past. In that release, the world does not shrink. It opens. The Stoic discipline of control is not a chain, but a key. By focusing only on what is yours and releasing the rest, you unlock the highest freedom, a life unbroken by circumstance, and a spirit light enough to walk through storms. Pause for a moment. Let the world fall silent around you. Ask yourself, how much of my life's weight comes from chasing what was never mine to hold? What would it feel like to release that weight and to stand only on the ground that is truly mine? In this space, imagine the calm of a mind no longer chained to the uncontrollable, a freedom that no one can take away. 8 lessons in the discipline of control: clarity, restraint, mastery, release from expectation, strength of response, training for the unexpected, growth through what you can shape, and the freedom of letting go. Each one reminds us that the line between what is ours and what is not is the line between slavery and freedom. Epictetus once wrote in his Enchiridion, "Freedom is secured not by the fulfilling of men's desires, but by the removal of desire." His wisdom shows that discipline is not a cage, but a key, unlocking peace by stripping away illusions of control. If this reflection helped you reclaim even a little of your energy, share it with someone who still struggles under the weight of the uncontrollable. And if you wish to walk further on this path of freedom, subscribe to Stoic Wellspring. Together, we grow lighter, steadier, freer. Be well, be still, be free.